federal judge on Monday wants to ask Senator Lindsey Graham a few questions. So now these questions are about Georgia and some calls that Lindsey Graham had made after the 2020 election. So now prosecutors have indicated that they'd like to ask Graham about some phone calls he made to Brad Raffensperger and his staff in the weeks following Trump's election loss to Democrat Joe Biden, according to Insider. Now, this, of course, is related to Donald Trump's perfect phone call. No, not that perfect phone call. The other perfect phone call. See, he's had so many perfect phone calls that we got to be very, very specific in which perfect phone call it actually is. All right. So now, in the calls made shortly after the 2020 general election, Graham had questioned Secretary Raffensperger and his staff about re-examining certain absentee ballots cast in Georgia in order to explore the possibility of engineering a more favorable outcome for former President Donald Trump. Interesting. Graham made references during that call to allegations of widespread voter fraud in the November 2020 election in Georgia. And let me be clear, there was no widespread voter fraud in Georgia or anywhere else. And look, on the calls, at least for Trump, you had Trump pressuring Georgia to find 11,780 votes. Just a few more than they needed to win the election, by the way. And it wasn't just him. It was numerous Trump allies that were calling people, Rudy Giuliani, as well as, again, Lindsey Graham. Now, attorneys for Graham are saying, well, look, you can't actually ask him any questions. Oh, no, why is that? Lindsey Graham's a senator, and so he's got immunity. He's got immunity, that's right. He doesn't have to answer any questions under oath because he's a senator. Oh, right. Now, that defense didn't work because here you have U.S. District Judge Lee Martin May, writing in an order on Monday that immunities related to Graham's role as a senator do not protect him from having to testify under oath. Oops. And now Graham's subpoena instructs him to appear before the special grand jury on August 23rd. However, of course, he is expected to appeal the judge's ruling. I'll give you a statement on that later. So now you might be wondering, wait, why not just go and answer the questions? If you didn't do anything wrong, if you don't have anything to say, well, then what's the issue? Surely there's nothing bad in those calls. No allegations, right? Nothing like that. Nothing that's going to get you in trouble. Right? Right? Now look, I think that there's two different possibilities that he doesn't want to testify under oath. Number one, he'd have to tell the truth because he is under oath, or face perjury charges for lying. Now, if telling the truth is actually going to be worse for you than getting caught up in perjury, then that might be a little bit of a problem here. Okay, so it could be, of course, that he joined in the pressure campaign for Trump or knew about it or something. Either way, he could get into trouble. Now, it could be possible political trouble, dealing with Trump's base, if he's honest about it and says, yeah, look, I knew all about Donald Trump's plan to try and pressure these states, to pressure Raffensperger to just magic up some votes to help Donald Trump win Georgia. Okay, well, that would be some big problems, right? Some big political trouble, because again, Donald Trump would likely turn against Graham, and he might not win re-election. Or again, if he does perjury, definite legal trouble. So what he's trying to do is just completely avoid having to talk about this. What? No, I don't have to talk about it. I'm a U.S. senator. I'm a U.S. senator and I have immunity. I don't have to answer these questions. In fact, Graham is arguing that a provision of the Constitution provides absolute protection against the senator being questioned about legislative acts. The judge did the rule that there were considerable areas of potential grand jury inquiry that fall outside of that scope. The judge also rejected Graham's argument that the principle of sovereign immunity protects the senator from being summoned by a state prosecutor. Graham also argued that this Democrat, this prosecutor in Georgia, had not demonstrated extraordinary circumstances necessary to compel testimony from a high-ranking official. But the judge disagreed, finding that this DA had shown extraordinary circumstances and a special need for Graham's testimony on issues related to alleged attempts to influence or disrupt the election in Georgia. Now, again, a lot of you are also talking about, okay, can't he just plead the fifth? Well, I'm assuming he could, I suppose. Now, does that really look good in this situation? No, it doesn't really look good. It's not saying that pleading the fifth is an automatic admission of guilt, not according to the law, but it sure does look bad. So it's not going to help you in any way either. Now, there's another development here that happened earlier today, in which former New York Mayor and Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani has also been informed that he is the target of a criminal probe by Georgia officials. Oops. Now, he is reportedly scheduled to testify in Atlanta today, on Monday. Now, he does not have immunity from testimony, although he does plan on invoking attorney-client privilege if prosecutors question him about any exchanges between him and Donald Trump. Now, again, this is a criminal probe as opposed to them asking Graham some questions and having him testify. Now, Fulton County DA Fannie Willis reportedly questioned witnesses earlier this summer. This is the same person that is, of course, trying to question Graham. Claims that Giuliani, before legislative panels, had asked or had made these baseless claims before legislative panels about suitcases full of secret ballots and corrupted voting machines. Again, all of those are not true. Back to Graham, Kevin Bishop said Monday the senator had no comment, but referred to what Graham said when asked about the probe last week during a news conference in Columbia, South Carolina. Graham said, "We will take this as far as we need to take it," when asked about his efforts to fight the subpoena. "I was chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee and had to vote on certifying an election. This is ridiculous. This weaponization of the law needs to stop, so I would use the courts." Yes, he would use the courts. "We will go as far as we need to go and do whatever needs to be done to make sure that people like me can do their jobs without fear of some county prosecutor coming after you." Ooh, that is a slap to the county prosecutors everywhere. Lindsey Graham is making a mockery of you, slapping you in the face. What are you going to do about it? But here's the thing, Graham, maybe they wouldn't come after you if you hadn't, I don't know, attempted to pressure someone in a state that you don't even represent to help Donald Trump overturn an election based on BS lies. Lies that you know are BS. But here's the thing about Lindsey Graham. He tries to have it both ways. And for one, of course, he comes out and he defends Donald Trump. Okay. And then, occasionally, you'll see him take some principled stances and lightly tweak Trump just a little bit. And then, after pushback, then walks it back and plants his lips directly on Trump's ass. We know who Lindsey Graham is. We know. Beta male. He needs a daddy. So, look, he goes and he finds the biggest Republican around, and that's Trump at this point. Now, Trump, unlike John McCain, by the way, except for that one time, John McCain, you know, that whole scandal involving McCain and some shady financial stuff. Donald Trump does way more shady things, criminal things. People and that people around him end up getting in trouble for. And so I think that's the worst place for for not just Donald Trump, but for Lindsey Graham to be. Because it turns out when you hitch yourself to Donald Trump, you get what you deserve. And at this point, the entire Republican Party, almost the whole Republican Party, has hitched themselves to Donald Trump. And you know what? If you do that, there's a good chance you're going to get what you deserve. You know who originally said something like that, by the way? Oh, right. It was Lindsey Graham. If we nominate Trump, we will get destroyed, and we will deserve it.